first, I want to thank you because I did kind of want to highlight, and it is a dangerous job, what you do.
Yeah.
First, I want you to give us kind of the Cliff Note version of your introduction into horse racing and how you wound up being a head starter.
Well, I started back in the 70s. I started hanging out with the gate crew at Balmoral Park. Jim Ward was starting back then, and I got on the gate with them boys. Then I eventually got on the gate over in Hawthorne, Arlington Park, and all them tracks. And you remember Jimmy Kennard, he retired.
Yep.
Then I kind of moved in that spot. Then I started coming down here, and I was helping Terry Walker out for 5-6 years, and he passed away. So they threw me the reins here. Life's been good ever since. Best job in America, honey.
It is the best job in America. But there are also some days that make it not so much the best job, because it's kind of like the Postal Service, because you guys have to work in the rain and the snow.
Yeah.
I mean, there are no days off when you want to be when you're the starter at Oaklawn.
Yeah, every once in a while you get a bad race. You know, we got a real good gate crew here. You know, they take a lot of good ass whoopings. You know, and they save a lot of horses. You know, we lost a few, but you know.
Yeah.
That's just part of the game. You get a few bad horses. You know, like my starts, I want perfect starts every time, but you know, every once in a while it's hard to get a good start.
Right.
You know, it's just a lot of luck.
So obviously the gate is open during the morning for schooling, for works.
Yeah.
Talk us through a typical morning. How many guys are on your crew to start?
I got 13 guys in the afternoon, then I got 8 guys in the morning time, and people will bring horses like up in the morning time to stand and back out, and you know, got horses never been in the gate, so we'll teach them how to walk in, and you know, just different things that some people need to break. Just if you got a bad horse, you get up there and kind of pet around their head and try to get them calmed down.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's, you know, just routine.
But we've also seen some assistant starters. It can be a pretty hairy, scary job.
Oh, yeah.
Because we've seen horses, say Whitmore, for example.
Yeah.
He was a very cantankerous horse, regardless of how old he got.
Yeah.
He was like Burger King. He was going to do it his way.
Yeah.
So, you know, when Whitmore would go, you knew he was going to backfire from behind.
Oh, yeah. He tried to kick you.
And it can be, you know, some certain horses, just like people, we all have our quirks.
Yeah.
You know, and you guys work with so many horses, and especially here at Oaklawn, you learn what horses have what quirks and how to deal with them, right?
That's a good thing. Bones, he takes care of my bookwork for me, and they keep it in the computer. So, like Keeneland, Churchill, they all put their marks on the computer, so we get this sheet every day. And like this horse will need handling, and you know, different, you know, get in horses or kick marks and different things. So that helps all them marks. So we kind of get heads up on everything.
So during the afternoon racing, how do you assign what starter goes to what horse? Because, I mean, is it a lottery? I mean, how do you make that decision?
I just kind of go through it. You know, like I got some guys that are real light-handed. You know, some horses are light-handed and some horses are a little battered. You know, I just kind of mix it up, you know. And once you're here for quite a while, you kind of know what guy gets along with one horse. You know, some guy may not get along with that horse. I'll try somebody else, and he'll get along with the horse. So you just kind of figure it out.
Now, not necessarily here, but at other tracks, we've seen some pretty bad incidents happen. Whether, you know, a horse rearing up, and it's amazing in such a tight spot, the positions that horses can get themselves in. It's almost like they become ballerinas and turn themselves around, flip upside down, and I've seen situations where they physically have to move the gate to get horses out from under. What are some of the situations that you've personally experienced, maybe not here at Oaklawn, but during your time, that you thought, how in the world did this horse get in this situation?
Yeah. Well, like one time at Sportsman's Park here in Chicago, we had a horse flip right at the break. And we got like a ledge there in the center of the gate, and that horse flipped it. He wound up straddling that deal. And the horses started coming around that turn there, and, you know, if we don't get them off, we're going to have to drag them off of the gate. And just as soon as they come out of turn, you know, I give the horse one more oomph, and he come off there, and, you know, everything's safe.
Right.
Then like one here last year, had a horse rear up over the front doors, and we got the numbers up there, and there's little clips there. And don't you know he clipped his bridle on that clip, and there he was hanging. I've never seen that happen.
It would never happen again.
Never seen it before. But, you know, there's different things. You know, they'll flip and get hung over the tailgate, or I've had guys flip and get drugged down there and they'd be on the belly of the horse, you know.
My gosh.
But it's, you know, then sometimes you got to drag a jock out there once in a while.
And they're very grateful for you guys.
Yeah. Usually when a horse flips, them jocks get shot out the back. You just
They fly.
You got to catch them in here.
Is it like a cradle?
Yeah,
like
cradle
in
catch.
cheerleading,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just cradle them.
Yeah.
So explain the actual starting gate, because the horse goes in there. We'll say 1,000-pound horse.
Yeah.
That's a good estimate for whether it's a big filly or an average colt. You also have the horse, you have the rider,
Yeah.
and you have an assistant starter. That's a very narrow space to begin with. And there's two pontoons, they're called pontoons, that are on each side of the horse for the assistant starter to stand on.
Yeah.
You can't be claustrophobic to work
It's a little
in the
tight.
position
Yeah,
that your
yeah,
guys are in.
yeah.
So kind of walk us through horses coming around to the gate, and you work very closely with our outriders, who are also
We're all a
amazing.
team.
It literally is a
Team.
team sport, even though it's individuals.
Yeah.
But kind of walk us through the loading process.
Well, the horses will come up there, and my boys all got lead ups with snaps on. They'll snap on and lead a horse in the gate. And they'll get them all the way in, and then got my buddy Kurt, he'll close the tailgates for me. Then the guy will get up and stand on a ledge and turn around facing down the racetrack. And you just kind of look down, make sure they're square, and if they need moved, you'll kind of move them over to your knee or something.
Now, when you say to make sure they're square, tell everybody what that means.
Just where their feet are all, you don't want them standing there like that. You want them, you know, where they can break comfortably.
Okay.
Is what it is. And then they try to keep their heads straight. You know, the jock will ask us to do something. Like yesterday, a horse was kind of squatting down. The kid yelled up, "Can we back him out?" So we backed him out a step or two, so he kind of get together again. And we'll put him back in. It worked out good, and he broke good and everything. You know, the jock and the horse and the men, they all try to work together.
And now, a lot of times, especially with inexperienced horses, sometimes when the gate breaks, you can't help if a horse sits back. I mean, that is far from the starter's fault or the assistant starters. That's sometimes a green horse.
Yeah.
Now, I know sometimes, and I have to tell this story. I first met you, I think, in '97 when I worked at Arlington Park.
Yeah.
I was 3. Not really.
You wish.
At Arlington Park, you were working with Whitey, the starter, Whitey and Blue. I would put in the slips for starters list, vets list, stewards list, and all of the starters lists, it would say, because Whitey said so. And I'm thinking, who the heck is Whitey? And then come to find out, he was the starter. So you learned actually from some really great men.
I'm really lucky. You know, even when I was a kid, I went to Oklahoma breaking horses and stuff, and everybody I've ever been involved with horses knew their stuff. You know, and they taught me well.
Yeah. So have you kind of taken anybody under your wing?
Oh yeah, every time, you know, if I get a young kid, I, you know, try to show them what I got. Then the guys that work on, you know, they're pretty experienced, and then they kind of chime in and help the guys out. You know, it's all, we all work together. If I see something, I'll call them off the side and tell them what I think.
I'm sure you do it in such a PC way as well.
Yeah. But it works out good.
So you work very closely with the outriders.
Yeah,
And, you know, sometimes they throw in an
yeah.
assist, you know,
Yeah.
because there are sometimes some very cantankerous horses
Oh,
that
yeah.
don't want to load, that
Yeah.
need an extra push or
Yeah.
2 or 3 that, you know.
Chisholm and Cowboy and them guys, you know, like we had a couple horses flipped there, and Chisholm's right there with his lead. He's got a nice long lead, and, you know, we use that. And Cowboy, he's back there. You know, they're all good. And Donnie and them guys, they're all, you know, if we need anything, they'll
Yeah.
bail off the horse. You know, Chisholm a few times, he's jumped off his pony and helped throw horses in, you know, so.
He just puts them over his shoulder and just throws
He's
them
strong
in.
as a bull, that kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now tell us, after the meet's over, I mean, we all go somewhere.
Yeah.
What's your schedule now? Because originally, did you go to Arlington?
Yeah, I went to Arlington, then it shut down.
Yeah, Tier.
Damn.
So now,
I go to Hawthorne Park. I got a friend of mine that works for me. He's starting for me right now.
okay,
Then I'll go to Hawthorne and I'll finish that meet out.
work for the amazing Jim Miller.
Oh yeah, my man Miller.
Loves me some Jim Miller.
He's a good old boy.
Yes, he is.
But it works out good.
Chisholm, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and get mic'd up and then join our program. So one of the other things that I was pointing out is morning schooling.
Yeah.
One of the things that horses do, they stand in the gate,
Yeah.
and it is required for horses to get a work out of the gate
Yeah.
prior for them to make their first start as a racehorse.
Yeah.
So do you now we have seen horses act up during the races.
Sure.
Is the starters list still utilized?
You know, I get along with these trainers so damn good. Usually I'll see them, or Bones will go see them, and then they bring them up for us. So, you know, we put
There's
a
a
couple
lot
up
of
there really.
cooperation.
Yeah, a lot of cooperation. You know, everybody's teamwork back there.
That's great.
Trainers, Sidmore, and all them guys. You
Yeah.
know, they're all good guys. But we all work together and we get things done.
That's really good, because a lot of
yeah.
times, you know, sometimes trainers, you know, might be a little more combative
Yeah.
about, you know, well, my horse doesn't need to school, or, you know, that's,
Well,
I think you have that personality as well, because you
Yeah.
are so laid back that,
Yeah.
you know, just bring them up one more time.
Yeah,
Let's just
yeah.
make sure that nothing happens next time.
And if it was really bad, the horse was really bad, and I know if the horse is even money, I'll wait 3 or 4 days before I see the trainer, let him cool out, you know.
That's like after a trainer gets a bad ride. He's not
Oh,
going to
my
go
God.
down. He's going to chill out for a few
Yeah,
days before he, you know, goes and talks to the jock or the agent.
Yeah, but I'm really fortunate. You know, I got good jobs and stuff. You know, I really like working here.
So what are some of your meet highlights? I mean, is it the Arkansas Derby?
Oh, yeah,
Is
great
it,
time,
you know,
great time. Tell you what I love when that infield's open. All the people are out there. We have a good time.
they love watching races that
Oh, yeah.
start right
Yeah.
there. And I always, you know, during our pre-race show, we say when the infield's open, go watch the mile
Yeah,
and the mile
yeah.
16th races, because you get to see them start right in front of you. It's a natural adrenaline
Yeah,
rush,
yeah.
and you get to hear the riders, you know, him and haw their horses out of the gate.
Yeah,
and
it's unreal.
you
It's a
might
cool
hear
time.
something you're not supposed to hear,
Yeah,
but
oh,
that's
yeah.
part of the fun of it, right?
That's usually from Kurt. He'll say something wrong, you know.
Okay, right now I want to join Chisholm, and I'm going to give up my chair. Chisholm, I want you to sit right here. I do want to welcome in Chisholm Ewing. He is our lead outrider, and I'm going to embarrass
That's
you real
Chiz.
quickly. I have known Chisholm, I think you were maybe 7 or 8. I was working in the test barn, and this is way back in the 90s, and you would come in and sit in the test barn while your mom was cooling out horses.
Yes, ma'am.
That is how far you and I go back.
Yes,
so,
ma'am.
yeah. Oh my gosh, I just got a little nauseous right there. But yeah, Chisholm has grown up in the industry. We always say that the industry is generational, and it's because it's what we know. We do it because we love it.
Yeah.
And you guys work very, very closely together. And I've seen you jump off your pony many a times, as Blue was just referencing, just hop off real quick and just lend a hand. And it almost is like a team sport.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely, it is. The main goal is to get the horses to the gate as safely as possible. And if they're shorthanded or if there's a big field, there's no need for somebody not to help and work, because we're all working towards the same goal to make sure those horses all get a same safe start and the riders are all safe.
So I'm going to back up real quickly. Tell us how obviously you got introduced via birth into the industry, but tell us real quickly how you got involved and kind of how you've gotten to where you are today.
So my mother was a trainer. She's an assistant trainer now. She gave up training, but and my dad actually worked on the starting gate. He worked with Blue here at Oaklawn Park and a few other tracks, and he was also a farrier. So growing up in that, as you stated, is generational. I started galloping horses, exercising horses when I was 14, and then I was given an official license when I was 16 because I was just at training centers, because you're not legally allowed to gallop here at the racetrack until you're 16. And then from there, I started ponying horses, but I had an innate desire to outride. Some friends of mine outride. I just want to do everything that I can to help people. So that job really appealed to me. It was never about a title or a position, but it was just doing something that's exciting, because it is a big adrenaline rush when you have a loose horse, but it's really rewarding to know that you can do something to keep everybody safe and help as much as you can in those instances.
So Blue, do you have the assistance of other outriders at other tracks like you do here at Oaklawn? Is it kind of carry over to other racetracks?
Yeah. They'll bail and give us a hand over in Chicago too, yeah.
That's amazing, because, I mean, you know, sometimes you see, well, it's not my job, I'm only here to do this, or I'm only here to do this, but it really is that camaraderie to help everybody out, and it is for the safety of everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
So we did, a lot of times when I am in the paddock, is Chisholm just mentioned he is also a farrier or a blacksmith. A lot of times in the paddock, I'll say our head outrider, Chisholm Ewing, is also our paddock farrier, because I will point out that so-and-so is getting a shoe repair from our head outrider, Chisholm Ewing. So in your father's footsteps.
Yes, ma'am.
And I know he is so proud of that.
Thank you.
Absolutely, to this day. And yesterday, during the first race, I believe it was, we were doing a talk with the Arkansas Department or the DFA, and we were right outside the paddock, and I see out of the corner of my eye, Chisholm just bolting this way, and it was because Kylie Jordan's horse dumped her in the post parade, and I wasn't sure who it was. I knew it was an outrider, but I just see it fly out of the peripheral vision, and there goes Chisholm catching the horse out of the corner of my eye. And that is one of your jobs. So kind of give us the breakdown of what your job is in the morning compared to what it is in the afternoon.
So the potential for a horse to get loose in the morning is a lot higher and a lot more dangerous in the morning, because there's so many different horses on the track at one time. Plus you have horses going in different directions, whereas you just have the field of horses warming up in a general direction, and you just have at most 12, sometimes 14 horses, opposed to hundreds of horses at one time. So you do run the risk. It's a lot more dangerous in the morning. In the afternoon, not having that traffic, it becomes a little easier because you have a clearer track to catch the horses. That being said, without a good horse, you can't do your job. I'm so blessed to have the horses that I do, because without them, you are only as good as what you're riding. So I've been very, very blessed and fortunate to have really nice horses to be able to help me be able to do my job. As far as morning training goes, we make sure everybody has the proper safety gear on, helmet, vest, not doing anything they're not supposed to that's going to cause any danger or breaking the rules. And then, of course, we have the siren I'm sure you've told them about. And then when that goes on, that's kind of our green light. It's time to go to work. And then hopefully everybody will adhere to that and get out of the way to give us a clean shot to catch the horse as quickly and safely as possible. But the number one thing is safety, not just catching the horse, but to make sure it's done in a safe manner to keep everybody safe and everything can resume as quickly as possible.
Blue, did you ever ride?
Yeah, I rode in the bushes when I was about 14.
I was going to say, it had to be
Yeah.
when you
I
were,
rode a couple years with quarter horses. It was a good time. I had a great childhood. You know, I've done what I want. My
where
mom
did you
just turned
grow
me
up,
loose.
Blue?
Huh?
Where did you grow up?
Ottawa, Illinois.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're still an Illini.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I've been lucky. Real lucky. Good friends and good childhood, good parents, few good friends. Kurt.
So you also work with two amazing other men to help you do what you do.
Yes, ma'am. And that goes back to the team effort. Is a lot of times not just to make sure things go smooth, but some horses can't be caught solo. They don't, for whatever reason, either they don't want to be caught or they're not pony broke. We'll work in conjunction with each other, and it's not about who catches the horse. Again, it comes back to as quickly and safely as possible. So we'll tag team a horse. Like if one guy's out front, one guy will be following behind and push the horse up to the other person to keep them running forward. The biggest thing is that horse won't stop and jump your heels and duck behind you and go the other direction, because then it becomes a game of just going back and forth, and you're wearing your horse out and that horse has no weight, and then your horse is carrying 200 plus pounds and they're conditioned to race, because we don't want to run our horses any further than we have to.
Right.
So that's one scenario. Another scenario is being positioned on the track during races in different areas. So if something does get loose, we try to map out everything, that the horses are always between us, so that there's never an instance where the horse would get past us. Now sometimes life happens and it
Right.
doesn't always work out perfect, but we generally try to keep everything contained within the parameter of the racetrack, so that we have a chance. If something does happen, we can get to not even a loose horse, but a rider that might just need help as quickly as possible.
Right.
Because there's instances where the riders don't fall off, but they still need help.
Scream for help.
Yeah, some
sometimes.
horses freeze up and lock up, and we can help. Or if the rider falls off and they just need a leg back up, or
Right.
if there's anything for any other reason, if they drop something like their whip or goggles or anything like that on the track, we can assist and pick that up as well.
You guys also have the assistance behind the gate during racing of one of our amazing track veterinarians as well, because if something's going to happen, it is going to happen. Like if a horse flips, they're there to assist as well, because we always are enforcing safety first, safety first,
Oh,
safety
yeah.
first, because should something happen, they're there to assist.
Oh,
And we
yeah.
also have the EMTs in the chase truck
Yeah.
to not only there for our riders, but they're for the assistant starters, for the outriders, because crazy things happen,
Yeah.
right? And you've had assistant starters get hurt because horses they kick with, some serious force with those legs. And your guys are in the line of fire at all times. So yeah, we're very, very fortunate to have, it literally is a team effort
yeah.
all around. So, and then you guys put yourselves at risk all the time.
That's the fun part.
That's the fun part. The adrenaline junkie right here. That's the fun part, putting yourself in harm's way. But yeah, so Blue, how many years have you been this starter in life, and then how many years here at Oaklawn?
I got the starting job in Chicago in 2000.
Okay.
And I started
wow.
on the starting gate in 1978. Somewhat 40-some years I've been on the gate.
You ain't done yet, my
No,
friend.
no, I'm going. I'm going to live to 100.
Knowing you will. You're going to outlive all of us.
I'm going to have Kurt push me around the wheelchair, and I'm going to get up in the stand, hit that button.
I love it. So here's a question. Do you go up on the steps, did you just
Yeah,
say?
yeah.
Now, it's interesting because some starters will go up on a riser and some do it on the ground.
Yeah.
It's strictly personal preference.
Yeah. See, in Chicago, I'll start on the ground. But here, the stands are pretty well placed, pretty good, so I get in the stands here.
That's interesting because it's just like, it's strictly personal preference.
Yeah.
Every starter does it different.
Yeah,
That's really
yeah.
interesting. You do it one place one way and another
Yeah.
place another.
Yeah.
Very interesting. What time do you have?
37.
So do you have to go do first after break?
I'm burning daylight, honey. Time for me to go.
Hit the road.
See you later.
Hit the road. Everybody, please thank you to Blue, Bill Knott, I'm going to keep you here for a few more minutes if that's okay.
That's fine.
All right. Thank you, Blue.
Yeah,
I really
anytime,
appreciate
thanks,
it. And you guys be
Thank you.
safe today.
Oh, we will, huh?
I know you will.
Life's good.
Can't keep a good man down. Yes. I know. I showered this morning.
I didn't.
Thanks, Blue.
Yeah.
I've worked with him since I was 2.
Really?
Not really. Not really. So it's amazing to me that, talking about how racing is generational, how you chose to come up into the sport, because a lot of us, it is all we know.
Yes, ma'am.
But it's also because it's what we want to do.
Yes, ma'am.
So you also have a lot of other interests. Every time I see you, you have your nose in a book.
Yes, ma'am.
You are very spiritual.
Yes, ma'am.
You are very cerebral, I like to think. And I know that. You've overcome a lot
Yes, ma'am.
in your years, but you always have that positive attitude every time you go out. You always have that smile on your face. And I've seen you multiple times, Chisholm, come in the paddock office where I am, blood coming out because you've lost a tip of your finger, or from whether putting a shoe on a horse or something. But you always maintain that positivity. Where does that come from?
That's a daily choice, and it's something, as I've grown and the things that I've been through, I've learned to adapt and get better. And that comes to a big part of the reading is no matter where we are in life, we can be surrounded by maybe negative things, but I make a conscious decision. Whether it's from a conversation or a podcast or a book, because I have to be paying attention to the horses too, that's why I choose to read in here, but constantly everything I read is just on growth and trying to make myself better, because I can't help anybody else be better or get through anything if I'm not better. So this has to come first. And if I'm better, then I can help somebody else be better. And I've made it a point to do that in my life because I've had people come alongside me in those tough instances in my life that are there to pick me up and lift me up. So I feel like I have a responsibility to do that because it's a special gift. Kindness doesn't cost us anything. You might be the only person that gets a compliment from somebody. Maybe you've never had a compliment from somebody, but it could be the one thing that keeps you from giving up. Why would we miss that opportunity to do that for somebody? I think if we do miss that opportunity, that could be a breaking point in that person's life. And you could be the turning point. Not that you're special, but that one kind word could keep them hanging on. Because I know that people have done that for me.
Right.
My walk with Christ has grown tremendously, and the things that He's shown me, instances here on the track where we've prayed for certain riders not to be hurt and minimal injuries, and just seen His faithfulness in different ways, so many ways. And the generosity when people get injured, or I've had family members get sick, and people pull together, there's that camaraderie.
Yeah.
Where even though there's the edge of competitiveness in racing, but that gets thrown out the window when it's something beyond that.
That's an excellent point, because even though, trainers are a single entity, jockeys are a single entity, when something happens, we all do come together. Like there was a jockey last year, for example, Rocco Bowen. I considered him my brother, and I still do to this day. And there was an instance when he got hurt. I was one of the first people at the hospital. And he actually lived with us briefly. And there's so many people that are easy to cheer for. And it is that, like you mentioned, that camaraderie. And even though it is an individual sport, we do all come together in these moments. And there was an incident at Keeneland yesterday.
Very sad.
That it was a awful tragedy where a 20-year-old girl lost her life doing what she loved. And it is those times where the sport comes together. And it's sad that sometimes that's what it takes. And we do come together at other times, at joyful times. But it is those heartbreaking times where we do come together and embrace each other and reach out even more so, I think. But I find that you are probably one of the most cerebral and thought-provoking people that I've been around. And you have come up to me numerous times in the paddock, and it's kind of caught me off guard and complimented me. And I don't get that. You know, people probably think, oh, you're on TV. I don't, you know, it's, yeah, whoop-de-doo, I'm on TV. But it is those moments that do make people feel good, you know, and I appreciate those moments.
That's one of my biggest life goals. It's something that I get. It's a feeling. It's a still small voice inside. Maybe that person needs to hear that today. It's just one of those things, and I don't want to miss the moment. I mean, like I said, it doesn't cost me anything.
Yeah.
And going back to what you said earlier, like that moment yesterday, very sad. Why would we waste a day saying something bad or living in strife? And that could be your last day, and it could end that instance.
Yeah.
I don't want to live my life like that.
Right.
So why not make the most of every day and try to lift other people up? Because it could end that quickly.
Very so could. So you work with an amazing team, and even though thoroughbred racing is single, I still consider it a team sport.
Yes,
because
ma'am.
we do all work together. You have an amazing group of guys
Yes, ma'am.
that work with you. I joke with them on a regular basis. I say they love me. They say I bug them. Potato, potato. What's next for you after Oaklawn, and where do you see yourself in 5 years?
So I used to travel with the racetrack circuit, going to different various tracks. In 2017, that was my first year actually staying here in Hot Springs. That's when my pastor took me aside and I started going to ministry school. And the dream got put in my heart to reach out with the homeless community and working towards getting a building to get those people off the street. And that's where, again, people here on the racetrack, one of the state vets here has donated her time to help vaccinate dogs down there. Numerous riders and different various people from the racetrack have come down there and helped me serve. And they have a heart for it. And they might not understand, and then once they get there, something changes on the inside because they see a need. And you might think that you might not have a lot of resources. Just going and talking to somebody, showing kindness to somebody could be that turning point in their people's life, because there's better things that you could do on an afternoon. But those people identify and say, hey, these people really actually care. So again, it comes back to that community of camaraderie that I've seen not just on the racetrack, but they've taken it outside to take their time and to sow into other people's life. So that's the bigger goal that I'm working towards, is getting people. And the racetrack has provided opportunities. Because of my relationship with people here, people have been able to get jobs that were on the street because they're willing to work.
Yeah.
But they're just in a bad situation because if they don't have a driver's license or they've lost their social security card,
They don't know how to access it.
You can't get it unless you have a physical address.
Yeah.
You actually cannot get it. The racetrack actually provides an opportunity to get a dorm so they can get off the street, then they have work. Well, now their life has changed drastically for the positive. So it's just not about work. You're literally changing somebody's life by giving an opportunity. And that trainer might not identify, oh, this is no big deal, I need help. And that's great, they're filling a need there, but that's a byproduct of what they're actually doing. They're actually getting this person in a better living circumstance. So it just it's really cool how it ties in together, and how so many things in my life I've seen pieced together, and it's awesome how God works that way.
It's an amazing puzzle piece that you have put together. It's like a 500-piece puzzle, but it's all coming together.
Yes,
you do
ma'am.
the edges, and then the center
Yes, ma'am.
all comes together.
Yes,
Well, it's amazing work that you are doing on the track and off, and we thank you for every single piece of it.
Oh, it's my privilege.
So break is almost over. Get back to work. So again, thank you. Chisholm Ewing, thank you so, so much. It is a pleasure having you. And I'm so glad that I brought you on because
Oh,
I've
it's my
learned
privilege.
so much more about you, even though I've known you since you were this high.
It's my privilege.
Old enough to be your mom, and that makes me sick at my stomach.